Welcome back to a special edition of the Morning Brew program. We're celebrating women. It's a full guest list of women here on the program this morning as we mark International Women's Day tomorrow, March 8th. From 10 a.m. at Woodford Square, women, men, children from all across Trinidad and Tobago are invited to the annual International Women's Day March. I have with me lecturer in the Institute of Gender and Development Studies at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Gabrielle Hosein, on set with me now. Dr. Gabrielle Hosein, thank you very much for joining us and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me. We are really excited about the International Women's Day March that's going to be happening tomorrow, 10 a.m., meet in Woodford Square. This march has been happening for many, many decades. In fact, was first organized by Christina Lewis, before we were even independent in 1950s and 60s. And so we're continuing a long and important tradition of, as you said, everybody, men, boys, women, girls, coming out and saying we, respect and commemorate the work that's been done by those who've gotten us here, and B, we steady ourselves and come together as a community for the work still to do.
I kind of want to add a C, just if I may be bold. We have many issues to confront.
Yes.
We cannot hide from them. International Women's Day is not only about celebrating and recognizing the extraordinary advancements and achievements of our women, but as a society, we can't neglect that we have a problem when it comes to our women.
It's so great to hear you say that. And we do have a problem. And the problem isn't just a sort of what more do women want. The problem is, are women safe to exist in the society? And the answer is no. Are women amongst the poorest in our society still, despite their educational achievements? The answer is yes. Are families that are headed by women finding it difficult to make ends meet, afford to buy their own home? Basic needs issues? The answer is yes. So when we think about the issues that women are facing, it's also a lens for us to look at what else in the broader society also needs to be addressed, and that's important.
You mentioned, Dr. Hosein, that this march, annual march, has been happening pre-independence in Trinidad and Tobago. How have you seen this march help also march women to a better place in this country?
I first marched in this International Women's Day March around 1995, and the women's organizations at the time, CAFRA, Trinidad and Tobago, Network of NGOs of Trinidad and Tobago for the Advancement of Women, who in fact is leading the organizing of this march still, created this incredible space for a young woman to think, wow, I could march on the streets and feel a part of something that's both celebratory but also passionate. And so for me, bringing out young people, children, and having them feel that sense of collective power, a collective right to gather in the name of greater justice, is something really important and beautiful.
It's also important to recognize that in some parts of the world, marching is a term that's frowned upon.
Yeah.
Marching is frowned upon. It's not even allowed.
But in our Caribbean history, we come from a long tradition of protest as black and brown people who have come out of slavery and indenture. So this tradition of gathering to insist on a better world is ours, and we claim it in moments like these.
Before I go on to the second part of our conversation, I do want you to remind the public of tomorrow, and also if they should walk with banners, what they should walk with, where the route would take them.
That's right. So we we'll be starting to meet in Woodford Square for 10 a.m. People can bring their posters, their banners, their organizational banners, make their own placards, have your children make their own placards, both your boys and your girls. We'll also have paper and markers there, so you can make your placards there as well. And the route will be going through Port of Spain, coming back to Woodford Square. And there will be some displays put on, for example, by the YWCA and others. So there will be women's organizations to talk to if you want to find out how you can join and support. And everyone is welcome. Woodford Square, 10 a.m. to march with us.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about several disparities that women face in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Another disparity would be in sport, one that is often overlooked. As such, you have started a Respect Her Game campaign. Tell us about it.
Well, it's a collaboration, really, and I was very much supported by Soroptomists of Trinidad and Tobago in putting this campaign together, and of course by Guardian Media Ltd, who I have to say has been absolutely fantastic as a corporate partner in jumping into this campaign and taking the lead. So what it is I'm a mother of a triathlete, Zia, and I was going to so many meets and competitions where music would be playing by DJs that I thought was super inappropriate. You know, when you're the parent of an athlete or a coach, you spend so much time talking to them about, you know, what's your mindset, what's your goal, what's your focus here, you know, what is your plan for this race, whether it's a swimming or track. And then you get to the start line and the DJ is playing always extremely loudly something like Gal Benova, which
vulgar music.
Yes. Now, I'm not making any comments on carnival, music, dancing, or culture, or even soca. But for youth athlete development, if we really want to give our youth athletes the best chance, and particularly our girl athletes, we have to create spaces that are safe, that are healthy, that are respectful, and that are empowering for youth athlete development. And we also need to create spaces where boys see girls not as in terms of their sexual skills, but in terms of their athletic skills, where their bodies are seen as strong, fit, determined, focused. And so, you know, we'd be talking to my daughter and saying, okay, you know, get in your head, focus, and the music. I just think, who is this music for? Is this for the children? Is this for the athletes? So the campaign aims to do three things. The first is raise consciousness about this issue through public conversation, so thanks for having me here. The second is that we are going to be starting a competition to invite mixes. And thirdly, we will be looking for other corporate partners to support.
What type of feedback have you gotten in terms of this campaign? I know that you said the corporate support has been there. You've been happy about that. But from athletes themselves?
So when I speak to parents, parents love this campaign, not just parents of all kinds, of all races, of all religions, parents who think, you know what, the music exists and that's fine, but I'm not exposing my children to this in my house. And just because my sons are playing football and want to become professional doesn't mean that I want to expose them to this just so that they can do sports. And so I think we need to think about sports spaces much more in terms of child protection. I think we need to think about them in terms of youth athlete development. What is the character of athletes that we are raising? What's the music doing for athletes when they're out there trying to beat their best time? You know, young people who are athletes are training sometimes 10 times a week, 12 times a week. My daughter was up swimming at 4:15 this morning. When you get there, you want an environment that is conscious, that as a nation, for us to produce young people that respect each other as athletes, that respect themselves and their bodies, that we can do better.
Dr. Hosein, as lecturer in the Institute of Gender and Development Studies at the University of the West Indies, if there is one area that you would like to see the theme actioned in, literally, accelerating action in Trinidad and Tobago, which area would you pick?
Well, all the areas, first of all. But this year, this campaign in particular, which is around recognizing that the sexualization of women and girls in sports is a major global issue. You know, teams that have been playing volleyball that are forced to wear swimsuits internationally, or looking at how women are depicted in media representation. So this is a massive issue globally. We are trying to counter it in our own way in Trinidad and Tobago. And we are inviting DJs in particular who run our musical scene to create the alternative. So we raise consciousness, we create the alternative, and then we play the alternatives at all of our sports events where youth are. So we are immediately making the change that we want to see. So it's an easy campaign on a big issue with achievable goals. And I hope people, parents of all kinds, coaches, and those corporate partners who are sponsoring sports events with children in it, I think we got to be a little bit more mindful about if we're giving them the best chance of success.
You never really understand how truly global this issue is until you read about the Spanish Soccer FA president, the former one.
This is it.
And the court.
This is it, exactly. So, I mean, thanks for these so much. And we want to use this moment to say that women's rights begin with girls. Women's rights begin with creating a different world for girls. And girls need a world in which they're not always being sexualized, always being exposed to sexual content, always being seen and groomed and taught that their sexual skills and their attractiveness are what matter. And sports give us a space to truly challenge that and to create a generation of young women and young men that can respect a girl's game.
Dr. Gabrielle Hosein, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to see your viewers tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Woodford Square.
That's right, tomorrow 10 a.m. at Woodford Square, the International Women's Day March. You don't want to miss it. Men, women, boys and girls all are invited to this International Women's Day March that goes back way before our independence as well. Stay with us here on The Morning Brew. We still have a lot for you after the break.